The last undefeated team has fallen. So, now what? What's going on, guys? Diggs Report here, back to you with another video, and I've got picks for Week 11, so let's get right to it. Alright, our Thursday night game is going to be Tennessee taking on Green Bay. For Green Bay, they pulled off an impressive win against the Dallas Cowboys, able to come back from 14 down. Maybe the Packers are starting to make a turn. They always seem to do better in the second half, especially in November and December. Never know. Meanwhile, Tennessee, they're still relying on Derrick Henry, and that's what's working for them. They're winning the AFC South right now. Thursday night game, I'm going to go with the Packers. Chicago taking on Atlanta. For Atlanta, they are behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have got to keep pace with them. Meanwhile, for Chicago, Justin Fields, he just keeps getting better. Fields definitely looks like the quarterback of the future for the Bears the last few weeks. I'm going to go with Chicago over Atlanta. Carolina taking on Baltimore. For Baltimore, coming off a bye, has a game lead over the Cincinnati Bengals. And they're facing off against Carolina, who has not been doing well this year. Only 2 wins coming in the division. And they just replaced P.J. Walker with Baker Mayfield. They're going back to Baker Mayfield. And Mayfield is familiar with the Ravens. I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one. Cleveland taking on Buffalo. For Buffalo, I don't know what you would call the performance against the Vikings late in the game. Essentially, they blew it. They had the game, and they lost it. Josh Allen, he's got to perform better. 2 red zone interceptions and a fumble that led to a Minnesota touchdown. Literally fumbled the snap exchange. I don't know how that happens that late in the game. I really don't. Meanwhile, for Cleveland, it's been a tough season for them. And you got to face a Buffalo team that has lost 2 straight. Give me Buffalo. Washington taking on Houston. For Houston, well, they're in contention for the first overall pick. Wait, I used that already. God, I really don't have anything else to say about Houston. That's sad. Meanwhile, Washington coming off beating Philadelphia on the road Monday night, stopping their undefeated season. Give me them over the Texans. Speaking of Philadelphia, they're taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Colts able to win last week in Jeff Saturday's first game as their head coach. Still weird that he's the guy that they went with for the rest of the year, but they won. Give me Philadelphia. Jets taking on New England. Both these teams, they faced off against each other earlier this year. New England came out on top. For the Jets, I mean, they have just defied all expectations. They are 6-3 right now. They have a win over Buffalo. But New England, they have been just as impressive. Beat the Jets earlier. I say they come up with the win at home. Rams taking on New Orleans. For New Orleans, we know about their injury problems this year. They've just been hit hard by them. Meanwhile, for the Rams, just a big drop-off after winning the Super Bowl last year. I'm going to go with the Rams over the Saints on this one. Detroit taking on the Giants. For the Giants, another surprise team. They are in contention for a playoff spot this year. Meanwhile, for Detroit, they've been competitive, but they just cannot find a way to close games. I'm going to go with the Giants on this one. Raiders taking on Denver. Both these teams have been very disappointing. For the Raiders, Josh McDaniels, we already know he's not going to be the guy long-term for the Raiders. We know they're going to be searching for a new head coach sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, for the Broncos, they have shown signs of brilliance, but just as many signs of what the heck are you doing? I'm going to go with them over the Raiders on this one. Dallas taking on Minnesota. Dallas coming off a loss to the Packers where they lost a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. Minnesota able to come from behind against the Buffalo Bills. A little luck. Got a little lucky, but they still were able to pull off the win. They are 8-1 right now. I'm going to go with them over the Cowboys. Cincinnati taking on Pittsburgh. For Cincinnati, this is a critical game for them, and not just because they are a game behind the Ravens, but they are also 0-3 in the division right now. They cannot afford to lose another game. Pittsburgh, they're going to do everything in their power to stop them, but in the end, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. KC taking on the Chargers. For the Chargers, I have no idea what's going on with this team. I thought this team would be in contention for the division, but they just haven't performed up to expectations. They have a lot of talent. I just don't know what's going on with them. Meanwhile, KC, even without Tyreek Hill, I mean, they're still the Chiefs. Right now, they have the #1 seed in the AFC, and I say they win this game over the Chargers. And our Monday night game is going to be San Francisco taking on Arizona. Arizona, another disappointing team. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't know how much longer he's going to stay as the Arizona Cardinal head coach if they can't turn it around. Meanwhile, for San Francisco, in contention for a playoff spot, they've been playing solid football all year long. I see they pick up the win over their division rival. Alright guys, those were my picks for Week 11. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.